this evolved. The model evolved out of Philadelphia Child Guidance Center, Mnuchin's work that he was doing. Ross's brother, Jerome Ford, worked with Mnuchin, and their criteria at that time was that the people that worked had to come from the community. And in fact, they told them that they didn't want them to have higher than a high school diploma. They couldn't, they had to ride on the same bus as the people in the community. They had to be, known in their community. And they purposely put, then what they did is they put, clinical people who were bought into what they were trying to establish. And as everybody know, that whole family systems approach came out of Mnuchin's work. And Mnuchin, by his own admission, even though people won't accept what he says, is that he says, I didn't do it. It was the people that were actually in the community. All I did was write down and had my people record what they did, and they codified it. Now, what happened out of that is that I think Mnuchin, because that's what those people do when they have to, they have a doctor in front of their name and they gotta write these papers or whatever, they started complicating it with all these wiggled lines and connections and all this stuff to try to show the connectivity in the family and the influences and the boundaries in the family. But I think as Ross, brought it forth so masterfully, began to codify it and add concrete skills so that people could actually reproduce what they were doing. So, when you talk about a skill like showing understanding, all of us in this room show understanding every day. We all do it. So you're not going to necessarily always get to a oh wow moment, Shawan or Andre, to say, I've never heard that before. No, you've heard it. The difference is that we train people, we've codified it so they can reproduce it again. So they can actually deliberately show understanding, know what they're doing with somebody, and repeat it over and over again, and then have the skill and the savvy to know when to show understanding in a situation. That's the distinction. And that's why Ross keeps saying, it doesn't matter what you bring in, we're going to find the good, because that's another tenet of the model, that we don't find fault. We don't find fault. We don't cause any injury. So even if you bring in something else that you're doing, I'm just going to reflect what I see you doing that's consistent with what we've codified, because you're already doing some of those things. I know I can see what you're doing, and I'm hoping that when I reflect it, you can see what you're doing. And the only difference between me and you at that point is that I have been trained how to see it, when to use it. And so in every situation, I know what I'm going to do. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happens in there. I know that I'm going to show understanding. I'm going to join. I'm going to reflect what's good in that situation. No matter how crazy it looks, no matter how crazy a kid acts, I'm going to reflect something good that they're doing in that moment. And
So that is necessary based on what they are about to do. They're about to say, these kids no longer need to be treated the way we had them treated. They need to, what's the alternative?
Oh, alternative response.
The alternative response has to be capable of seeing the people as being able to take care of themselves. Okay. So it began with saying, well, we're a non-pathological approach. And somehow became we're a strengths approach, etc. All those things. But right now, with what they want to do, we and those of us who have the capability of doing that, you need us to be who we are right now. And we can show that what you're doing is possible to do with a certain approach that we are expert at. So I'm basically saying that we need to make it clear that we are the answer.